Today I'm going to be testing Avata 2 propellers. I'm going to be putting the original propellers up against the master air screw and also the HQ props. Now I know there's a lot of aftermarket propeller options out there for the Avata 2, but these are the main two that people seem to use. So I'm going to compare noise, flight time, and also most importantly, flight feel. We're going to push these props to the absolute limit and see which one has the best prop wash handling and also therefore the most resistance to encountering the yaw tumble. So if you're new around here, my name is Justin. It is great to see your wonderful smiling face, and if you've been here before, it's also great to see your wonderful smiling face back here. So yeah, let's get into it. Now I want to start off by saying that I've been flying the Avata 2 exclusively on the original propellers for well over a year now, and to be honest, I've not really had any complaints. The flight performance has been good and I really like how quiet these propellers are, but I've definitely been curious to see how these other propellers are actually going to perform. Now I do actually like how cool these master air screw props look in the red color. I thought they looked a bit cheesy online, but seeing it in person, I'm actually a bit of a fan, weirdly enough. And also the master air screw props do come with some new screws for the putting it onto the motor where the HQ props don't, so bear that in mind when you're picking them up. Okay, we're going to start off with the noise testing part, and I'm actually going to move away into the shade because the sun is hot here in the Balinese park. So yeah, noise testing and flight time testing I actually did yesterday, so I'm going to go over the results of what happened there. What I did with my noise test is I had the drone hovering in front of me. I basically put it at 1 arm's length away from me, and then I pulled my phone away with the decibel meter app, and that's where I took my noise measurement from. So when it comes to the noise testing, I'll also play this on the screen for you. The stock propellers were the quietest and the most pleasant tone to my ear, and they came in at around about 81 to 83 decibels as we were flying. Now, next was going to be the HQ props. The HQ props sound very similar to the stock propellers, but they are ever so slightly more harsh on the ear and ever so slightly louder, coming in at around 83 to 84 decibels. And the master air screw props, they were sort of middle of the road when it came to actual level of noise. They were 82 to 84 decibels, but the sound that they generate was a lot more harsh than even the HQ props. So when it comes to the actual sound profile, I think the master air screw is the worst, followed by the HQ, and then the stock being the nicest and the quietest on the ear. Now let's go over the flight time testing. Now I did this test from a 100% full battery until the drone did an automated low battery landing at around 78%. So this was exactly the same for all three batteries. They all started at 100, went down to 7 or 8% until the drone did an automated landing. So first off, the stock propellers, they achieved a flight time of 18 minutes and 46 seconds, which was the best of the lot. Next up, we had the master air screw. They did a flight time of 18 minutes and 2 seconds. And then in last place, we had the HQ props, and they only managed 16 minutes and 51 seconds. Now this is in a complete stable hover. There was a light wind coming through, but it was pretty constant. So yeah, the HQ props are the least efficient in the flight time department, but maybe they will make up for that in the flight performance department, which is what we're going to get onto right now. So let's get some things in the sky, because I'm really interested to see the flight feel. I haven't flown any of these previous to this exact moment, so we're going to discover together. Today is quite a bit windy, so this is also going to be a pretty decent test, because wind and buffeting and shaking is also going to put everything through a little bit more stress, and it's going to make a bad prop show up more of its worst tendencies. So let's get in the sky. Okay, so first off, we're going up here with the stock propellers. Let me flick it into manual mode. Now what I'm going to show you on the screen is I'm going to show you a fully raw, unstabilized basically footage. I'll show you goggle footage, but also drone footage, but basically it's going to be the same. Completely unstabilized. And we can see here, even though it is quite windy, things are still looking pretty smooth. Here we're coming into the wind and we are struggling a little bit. Now, yeah, we're getting a bit of a shake going on there. Now I want you to be able to see all of this going on, because that's what you're going to see, and that's also depicted in how the prop handles. So I know you guys are also going to wonder what's the fastest prop, so I'm going to do a speed test as well on each of the propellers, as well as prop wash handling. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to do a diagonal run from this corner to the other corner, and we're going to see what the speed is, and then we'll do it in the other direction to balance it out for the wind. So let's push it, maximum power. What are we getting? 108, I think 109 kilometers an hour. Now that is pretty quick, but we do have a tailwind going that way. So if I max the power coming back, 82, I'm getting pushed a little bit off there, about 82 coming back. So we'll use those as a bit of a benchmark, and now let's see what the prop wash handling is like. So let's try and instigate a yaw tumble. So let's push it. There we go, there's the tumble, and recover. Now it didn't take much to push it there. Obviously I'm pretty comfortable with knowing how to put this drone into the tumble, especially here going downwind. All I have to do is push it too hard. Oh, there we go, it didn't do it. Okay, let's try and get a tumble the other direction. No, just a little snap, again the other direction. No. Okay, so even with stock props, it's pretty resistant to the tumble if you're flying correctly. So yeah, let's try one more time to get it to flick. Okay, there we go, a little bit of a flick, but again, nothing too aggressive. So let's bring it back, let's send up the master air screw, and let's see how that behaves instead. I think these kids are chasing the drone maybe. Okay, let's bring it back. Okay, going up now with the master air screw propellers, so let's take him up. Oh, a little bit shaky off the bat. Let's get him into manual mode. And let's have a fly around. Let's get a bit of a feel for it. I don't know if it's just me, it does feel a little bit more shaky straight off the bat. Let me just crank my camera angle a bit higher. Feels a little bit shakier. And you can hear it's a much higher pitch. Now I would like to do some freestyling stuff, but it's just way too windy today to try that. So I'm just giving you a basic sort of cruising around cinematic flight feel. And it actually feels okay, to be honest. I don't think it feels as responsive as the stock propellers, if I'm being perfectly honest here. It feels very shaky. Very, very shaky in this wind. When it comes to throttle response, it doesn't feel as punchy. Okay, let's do a max speed run and see what we get. Let's push the camera up, way up. 45 degrees like we were before. Let's see how fast we can get it to go. Well, max power with the wind. 112 we got to there. Okay, let's cool it off. And let's do the same again, but going in the other direction. So max speed, pushing it, and we're doing 71, 73. It's looking like the winds might have picked up a little bit because we're slower into the headwind but faster with the tailwind. So I'm not sure how conclusive my speed testing is going to be, but at least I'm trying. It's a shame that it's such a windy day today, but let's have a look at the yaw tumble, see how it handles that. Let's see if it's resistant or if it's not. Let's give it a push. Way, that was a big one. Okay, that was into the wind, which is not normally so much of an issue. And on the stock props, I couldn't get it to tumble going into the wind. Let's try it with the wind. Let me lower the camera angle a little bit just to slow things down a bit. Let's push it with the wind. This is normally where things get way out of shape with stuff. And no tumble that way. Let's try again. And snap. Okay, big tumble. Okay. So, in my opinion, I'm not going to say expert opinion, in my opinion, this prop is a little less stable. It feels less punchy on the power, which for smooth cinematic flying might be a bonus. It is a bit shakier, and it appears to have slightly worse prop wash handling than the stock props. Now, other people's, yeah, I can really hear it getting jerked about a bit. Now, other people's experiences may differ, but this is me on a pretty windy day trying to push it into getting out of shape. And yeah, so that's interesting. I'm going to put on the HQ props next and we'll see how they handle. If you're enjoying watching me push these drones and propellers to the limits, then you're also going to enjoy my free weekly newsletter where I give you the latest drone news, hot tips, and a little bit of a behind the scenes look into what's going on in my life. So you get to stay up to date with all the latest drone releases, drone developments, those quick tips, and you'll also get a bit of a sneak peek into what's coming up potentially in future videos. It's completely free to sign up to. I send it to you every single week. I'll leave a link in the description so you can go and sign up. And with that, let's get back to testing these propellers. Okay, time for the last prop. We have the HQ, so let's get it up in the air. Flick him into manual mode. And let's start flying. Okay, so off the bat, it feels less shaky than the master air screw. I'm pretty sure it also looks less shaky in the feed. A little bit still because we've got a bit of wind, but it definitely feels smoother straight away. Let's talk about the flight feel. How does it feel? It feels pretty smooth, to be honest. The throttle response feels a little bit better than it did with the master air screw props on. Feels like it's got a little bit more punch. Similar to the stock propellers, I'm getting blown around all over the place here. This is probably one of the worst days in history to try to do propeller testing, but let's try it. Okay, so let's do some speed runs. I put a fresh battery in this, so it's going to be a nice fair comparison. So let's do the diagonal run first with the wind, and then we'll go into the wind. So crank up the camera angle, 45 degrees, there we go. And let's gun it. Maximum power, 111 I think I saw there briefly. Settling down to the mid 100s, so about 103, 104, maybe a bit more than that. Now let's see, going back into the wind, let's get back to diagonal, push it. I'm getting blown around, 77 I think I saw there, down to 63, 70. Okay, yeah, like I say, it's not the best day to be doing speed testing because the wind is just crazy, but it's been windy and raining a lot lately, so I got to take the best that I can get, and at the moment that means just windy. Okay, so let's see if we can get it to go into a tumble going into the wind. Let's get a bit more height on our side and let's push it round. Okay, nothing that way. Let's try again with the wind and push it. Okay, big tumble again with the wind. Let's try and push it again to tumble with the wind, into the wind even. Big push, spin. No, not really. It handled that pretty well. I think this handles prop wash broadly similar to the stock propeller, maybe a tiny bit better. Not sure, I don't hear as much of the sort of getting flicked around as I did with the master air screw previously. And it feels a lot smoother in the goggles, to be honest with you. Let's see if we can get nice and low. Yeah, it feels good. Okay, this is an interesting test so far. So let me do a little bit more, let me do some more intricate flying around these trees, because this feels very similar to the stock propellers through my fingers. Maybe it's a little bit better in the freestyle department. Didn't feel super punchy there, but I'm at a really high camera angle and it is windy. So yeah, this is interesting. When it comes to props, definitely I think the master air screw is the worst of the three. The HQ and the stock are pretty close. Interesting. Okay, let me bring it back and I'll collate my thoughts. Okay, so I've had a bit of a minute to think and gather my thoughts, and this is what I've come up with. So I've come up with the fact that today is not the best day to be doing propeller testing. It's so windy. It reveals some tendencies, but it also makes it difficult to do other types of flying, like precise, intricate flying, because the drone just gets blown around so much. And the speed test, you're gonna have to take that with a very heavy pinch of salt because the wind is changing, so they all perform pretty well. We got over 100 kilometers an hour on all of them with the tailwind. So yeah, if I get a chance to go out and do that test again on a calmer day, I will, and I'll put those results in now. But in all honesty, I don't think I'll get a chance to do that before this video goes live. So when it comes down to it, let's go over all three props. We'll start with the master air screw. Now, this is by far the coolest looking prop, especially because it's red. But when it comes down to it, I think this is the worst performing of the three propellers. Mainly because it was very unstable in my goggle feed. It was very jittery. It felt like the less punchy when I was giving throttle punches, and it had the worst prop wash handling. So when it came to the yaw tumble, it actually experienced it going into the wind, which is something I haven't ever seen before on the Avata 2. Going with the wind, it's really easy to get it to tumble, and it tumbled for sure. But yeah, I could also just hear the drone twitching and fighting a little bit more to stay balanced. And for that basic reason, along with the fact that it's a little bit noisy and I don't quite like the tone, it's still not a noisy prop. But I think for me, I'm going to discard this master air screw as a contender for a usable prop. Now when it comes to the stock propeller and the HQ prop, that's where things get a little bit more interesting, because they perform fairly similar when it comes to flight feel. They feel very similar. The HQ is a little bit noisier, and it maybe had a tiny bit better prop wash handling. Again, it's hard to say. They both did tumble, but then I did push them both quite hard to tumble. So yeah, prop wash handling is broadly similar. When it comes to flight feel and throttle response, they both actually felt fairly similar to me. Now, I've flown this a lot, so I know exactly how this feels in all conditions, and this felt very similar to this. It was a lot smoother than the Master Airscrew when we were just flying around, but one of the main drawbacks of this prop is that it's just not very efficient. The reduction in flight time over this one was close to 1.5 minutes, maybe even more than that, almost 2 minutes. And I'm not sure if that is worth the amount of extra flight performance you get, which is maybe marginal. Now, if you're doing hardcore freestyle, maybe this makes a little bit more sense, but if you're doing hardcore freestyle, the Avata 2 doesn't make a lot of sense. Yes, it can freestyle, yes, it can fling it around, but I can do all the stuff I want to freestyle-wise on the stock props with no issues, and it flies for longer. So if you have some HQ props lying around, definitely give them a go. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Master Airscrew, yeah, maybe it's not worth the effort. But for the stock props, for me, I think that's what I'm going to be continuing to use going forward. The flight time is the best, it's the nicest sound on the ears, and the flight performance is still good. So yeah, I think that's a pretty conclusive test. I'm sticking with the stock props. The HQs, I'll have them there. I might use them if I run out of stock props, but chances are I'm not going to use them. Master Airscrew, I might just stick them on my drone when it's sitting on the shelf because they look cool. But that's about it. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, then I know you're also going to enjoy watching this video right here. And if that one doesn't speak to you, then maybe this one here will instead. So like and subscribe, all of that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.